The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as the holographic display flickered to life. 7 species, each representing billions of souls across hundreds of worlds, watched in horror as the footage played. A single human vessel, no larger than a standard frigate, had just erased the entire Crethean armada from existence. 300 warships, gone in 17 seconds. Ambassador Velkoth of the Astrian Concordat was the first to break the silence, his crystalline voice fracturing with fear. "What manner of weapon is this? Our scientists detect no conventional energy signatures, no quantum disruption, no antimatter discharge. The ships simply cease to exist." The human ambassador, a weathered woman named Dr. Sarah Chen, sat motionless at the far end of the table. Her face was carved from stone, her eyes fixed on the replay as it looped endlessly. When she finally spoke, her voice carried a weight that made every translator in the room struggle to capture its gravity. "You want to know about the weapon," she said quietly. "You want specifications, countermeasures, reassurances that humanity won't turn it against you." She paused, her fingers drumming once against the table. "You're asking the wrong questions." Counselor Thrain, the militaristic Vorgesh representative, slammed his appendage on the table. "Then what should we be asking, human? Your species has just demonstrated the capacity to annihilate any fleet in the galaxy. The balance of power has shifted. We demand answers." Dr. Chen stood slowly, her movements deliberate. "The weapon's name is Void's Whisper. It doesn't destroy matter. It convinces reality that the matter was never there. Retroactive erasure on a localized scale. The Cretheans fired first, as you all witnessed. The weapon activated in self-defense." "Impossible," breathed Velkoth. "Such technology would require an understanding of quantum mechanics that defies—" "It defies everything," Chen interrupted. "Every law we thought was immutable. Every constant we believed was fixed. That's why you should fear it." She advanced the hologram and a new image appeared. A human man in his early 30s with dark circles under his eyes and an expression of profound emptiness. "But this is who you should truly fear. Dr. Marcus Webb, the one who forged it." The council members exchanged confused glances. The human looked ordinary, fragile even by their species standards. "I don't understand," Velkoth said. "You fear your own weapons designer?" Chen's laugh was bitter, hollow. Marcus Webb wasn't trying to create a weapon. He was trying to save his daughter. She pulled up medical records, images of a small human child with a bright smile. Lily Webb, 8 years old. Diagnosed with a quantum decay syndrome, her cellular structure was phasing out of temporal alignment. She was literally fading from existence, one molecule at a time. No cure existed. Marcus was a theoretical physicist, not a weapons engineer. He spent 2 years diving into research that would have driven most sapient beings mad. He learned to manipulate the fundamental fabric of reality itself. The image shifted to show a laboratory, equations covering every surface. A man who looked nothing like the healthy scientist in the earlier photo. This Marcus Webb was gaunt, haunted, his hands trembling as they worked. "He succeeded," Chen continued. "He created a device that could stabilize quantum states, anchor matter to reality. He saved Lily." Her voice dropped. "But the Interstellar Patents Commission classified his research. The military saw potential. They approached him with a proposition. Refine the technology, create something that could be weaponized, and humanity would gain a shield against hostile species. They promised funding for Lily's continued treatment. They promised protection. And he agreed," Thrain said, understanding dawning. "He agreed," Chen confirmed. But Marcus Webb understood something the generals didn't. He wasn't just creating a weapon, he was creating a door to existential horror. Void's Whisper doesn't just erase matter. It reaches into the quantum foam and makes reality forget. Each activation slightly degrades the universal constants in the affected area. Use it enough and you don't just destroy enemies. You unravel the fabric of space-time itself." She pulled up new data, complex models that made even the Council's best scientists recoil. Marcus built in limiters, fail-safes, restrictions. The weapon can only fire once per lunar cycle. It requires a unanimous decision from 3 human ethical oversight committees. It has a maximum range, maximum yield, maximum activation time. Her eyes hardened. And it has a dead man switch tied directly to Marcus Webb's biometrics. "What does that mean?" Velkoth asked, though something in his tone suggested he already knew. "It means if Marcus dies from any cause at any time, Void's whisper activates at maximum capacity with no targeting restrictions. It will erase everything within 50 light-years of its location, before the quantum cascade becomes unstoppable, and reality itself begins to unravel outward. We estimate 70% of the galaxy would be affected before the propagation finally burns itself out. The silence that followed was absolute. "You've built a doomsday device," Thrain whispered, "with a human life as the trigger." "No," Chen said sharply. "Marcus built a prison, with himself as both the prisoner and the key. He knew what he'd created. He knew it could never be allowed to proliferate, could never be truly destroyed, so he made himself indispensable, irreplaceable, untouchable." She displayed one final image. Marcus Webb in a secure facility, surrounded by medical equipment, guards, and failsafes. But his eyes were empty, staring at something far beyond the walls. "We keep him alive. We keep him comfortable. We keep him sane, or as close to sane as possible for a man who knows he can never die, never be free, never be truly human again. He sees his daughter once a month under supervision. He lives in a gilded cage because the moment he doesn't, the galaxy dies." Dr. Chen looked at each council member in turn. "So yes, fear the weapon. It's the most powerful destructive force ever conceived. But we fear the man who forged it, because Marcus Webb didn't create Void's whisper as a tool of war. He created it as a monument to a father's love, and then watched as it became his eternal prison. He's not a weapons designer. He's a cautionary tale about the price of salvation and the burden of unprecedented power." She closed the hologram. "Humanity doesn't control the weapon. Marcus Webb does. And he hates us for what we made him do almost as much as he hates himself for agreeing. That's why we fear him, because the man who holds the galaxy's fate in his hands wishes every single day that he'd never been born." The council adjourned in silence. Across the galaxy, new protocols were established, not to counter the weapon but to ensure that nothing and no one ever threatened the life of Dr. Marcus Webb. The weapon was feared, but the man was untouchable, and humanity bore the weight of both.